South Africans, it would appear, are being robbed of millions of rands by fraudulent banking websites. But the country's banks have been praised as leading the way in the crackdown on con artists who are luring consumers to supply their personal details. Since the beginning of the year, around 900 phony bank sites have been shut down. But as soon as one is bust, another pops up.
It's anyone's worst nightmare, realizing your bank account has been hacked and you've been completely cleaned out. It's called phishing or smishing. Fraudsters use official-looking banking emails or SMSs to convince you you're actually corresponding with your bank. So you provide them with all the information they need to take your money. Between January and March, South African banks say they've cracked around 900 fraudulent banking websites. But fraudsters don't only pose as your local bank.
People think, gosh, if it's the police or if it's a South African Revenue Service, these are all legitimate organizations and there should be no problem providing the information.
All of them are after the same thing, your personal banking details, and with that, your money.
Our banks, I think, are making a tremendous effort, every one of them, to stop this type of fraud. I think we're almost leading the world.
Ultimately, the buck stops with the consumer. If your account is hacked, somewhere along the line, you must have provided your details. The simple advice from banks: never respond to any email or SMS requesting your personal account details. Michelle Lippert, E-News, Johannesburg.
So patently we have a problem. Let's explore this in some detail now. Craig Rosewarne is with us, Risk Advisory Manager at Deloitte. Craig, welcome to you. Patently these attacks are on the increase. I think, what did we say, something like 900 phony sites in the past year. Why are they increasing?
I think, Jeremy, the whole reason is first of all, it's very easy money. There's a lot of technology available for free or at a minimal cost that you can utilize to launch these sort of attacks. And if I have to be brutally honest, I think that the criminals are always one step ahead of the clients of the law enforcement agencies.
What about the quality of these websites? Surely you can spot a phony. Anyone should be able to do that, or not?
No, not really. So once again, the criminals are always one step ahead of us. Even if you are potentially going to a legitimate site, there is malicious software that can be loaded into your browser that even overlays the actual login page, something called click checking, where you actually enter credentials on a legitimate site, but you're actually feeding information to the cyber criminals.
And how prevalent is that particular type of activity?
That's more a targeted attack. I think the biggest concern is...
So they would identify someone patently with a lot of money, and that they would look at identifying that person or group of people to specifically get money from them?
Yes. That's the scary part now, where there are organized crime syndicates targeting people or organizations. Generally, 9 out of 10 times they will succeed in getting through with very minimal resources, from my experience. The average broad attacks, where you capture maybe 2 out of 1,000 people, are still very lucrative for them to continue doing that.
Who are the perpetrators of this? Patently, people who have a broad understanding of technology and access to it.
Yeah. So I've always presumed in the past that it's typically the Eastern European attacks coming from Russia, which are still happening.
That's the conventional wisdom, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. But now, interesting stat from the recent FBI cybercrime report. Of the top 10 perpetrator countries, 4 are African, and South Africa is number 6. So even locally, we're seeing a number of attacks emanating within our borders.
And come World Cup time, this is the kind of thing surely that's going to increase. A lot of people, visitors, will be wanting to do their banking online.
Yes, yes. So any large-scale event, any large news item, even, for example, the Eugene Blanche death, can attract or can result in incidents taking place as well.
Surely people are aware of this threat by now. So often, the likes of you and I have had this conversation before, yet it still happens. Is one of them born every minute, or is it?
Yeah, unfortunately, if you consider our dear aunts and grannies out there are very tech unsavvy, they are obviously going to be prime targets. But remember, these attacks are constantly evolving, constantly changing. So the moment we've got a grasp, or we've got awareness around one sort of attack, boom, they hit you from another side.
So how does an organization like you keep up with this then?
It's an ongoing job. It's a full-time passion. So as an example, from a Deloitte perspective, we've got quite a large team that actually spends a lot of time and energy with clients, advising them to proactively defend against risks, and when they are compromised from a forensics point of view, to go in and assist as well.
How do I defend against risk then, as a user of a bank website?
Okay. Even though there are so many incidents taking place, I, who know about a lot of the incidents, still am a very firm user of internet banking and online bank and e-commerce sites, etc. You just got to be savvy. You've got to be suspicious. And
Suspicious of what, though? If you, particularly with this overlay example that you've just given us, almost impossible to detect.
My advice to the man in the street is to be cautious around any sort of, if it looks good, it's probably a scam. But also make sure from an internet banking or from an internet security point of view that your browser, your machine is up to date with the latest versions of the browser and also patched, etc. Many of the banks will no longer pay in the case of a fraud. If they determine from a forensics point of view that your machine is not up to date, the onus is on you to end up paying.
The other point